Basically, this is a very original house. It's had some modifications, like somebody moved the kitchen. There's some bad bathrooms up there. But these houses were built in 1895, and this whole block is called Old Dominion Road. It was built by the Old Dominion Savings and Loan, and I know this because it's in the manual. And so I sold this house to a client in February, and in planning their renovation, they decided not to follow through with it. And I had another buyer, he's like, what have you got coming up? What have you got? What have you got? And I said, well, this house is coming up like June 1. And anyway, so he asked me if they could see it early, and I called the client, and I knew the answer to the question was going to be yes, we can show it. Even though they did lose some money, they sold it for $50,000 more than they paid for it. We were going to go through, the client did this whole renovation plan, which was not as well thought out as it possibly could have been, and that's why they didn't renovate it, because if it had been more well thought out, it would work better. But I didn't have anything to do with that. So Jeremy and I went through the property and went, okay, in the spirit of what you guys are trying to do, if you do this, you can do it for a lower price. And we showed that to them, but these are my buyers that will buy something and not move in it and sell it and we'll move on. And some we made some money on, some we haven't. But we came up with a plan of what they were going to do to get this ready for sale, which we were going to paint all of the work in the whole house. This house has this brown work pretty much throughout the entire house. This is what is historically accurate. It's the way the house was built. You can paint beautiful. This aesthetic is dark. And so painting it out would make the house brighter and more open. Somewhere along the line, probably in the 70s or early 80s, they moved the kitchen forward. Unfortunately, it wasted the entire back part of the house. Because what really needs to happen is moving forward into the future, you would blow that all the way out.
Well, what's it for?
The dining room.
Okay.
All of these houses, pretty much.
This is like a parlor sitting.
Yeah, all of these houses were very similar construction. It was like front parlor, second floor, dining room. Oral dining room was always the biggest room in the house because that's where everybody lived before there were TVs and things like that. And they sit at the table and do their homework, and that's kind of where people live. And then there was a pantry and a kitchen, and very service oriented. This kitchen that's in here now is very much a very budget kitchen from probably the 80s. And it does have it had a stove that is about a little age on it. You have to have the stuff. Why they have that little monkey hole there, I have no idea. What this is basically put a door and the elevator in the front. Okay. Which would screw up 3 rooms, first floor, second floor, third floor, and had taken one of the nicest spaces in the house and made it awkward. And the architect needed to look at the guy and go, there's really only one place to put it in this house, and it's right here in this back corner, because you can get all 3 floors lined up. It doesn't screw anything up. It's cheaper to do because you're not reinventing the wheel up there, and it doesn't destroy the aesthetics of the house. And this guy is, like I said, he's a nice guy. He is talented. He does tend to be a little suburban, and most architects in this area tend to be, because even the new people are using the same guy. And they asked me about it, and I said, well, you micromanage him, and you push back, because he's going to tell you yes to everything you come up with. But he was like, the whole point, the value shot in this house right now is to blow all of this out. Back stairs go away, it becomes completely open, and you've got a full shot. We put the kitchen here where this is, and then that again. You're going to have to go after that or a normal thing. But wall. And so that would stick out to about here.
Right.
He built a pantry in front of it and blocked the whole view. And I'm like, he's like, well, you need all that pantry space. I'm like, there are like 9 grocery stores within 2 miles of here. You do not need pantry space like you live in the country and you only go to town once a month.
There's also quite a bit of that.
This is the Carnahan
Yeah.
people?
And so hopefully they took that into account. But just making it a straight galley and put it in an island in here, I think would be a real big hit here. And I think that,
Are they blowing out anything to the back? 'Cause I can see that being Leah's office for her patient back there.
well, she's gonna have to really soon.
Huh? Oh, she doesn't see them here.
So when, if it's back there, what's going to have to go through the entire house? There's owners back.
So then we have to have
Isn't there parking back there?
you put a door right there
Huh?
and you deck that area way in so that you can walk from the front part of the house to the back. Not only does it make the traffic pattern in the house improve, it makes it flow better and you can like entertain more and gives you more outside space. The outside space in this house is very tight.
Yeah.
And another reason to add an elevator in this house is because it's dying for a roof deck. And so you have a very small backyard that you want to use, I would want to use for parking.
Yeah.
The old days, people would build these roof decks out of wood, and so they go in and they build it on top of the parapet, and you know the roof goes bad, and you can't do maintenance on the roof because you can't get to it because of the deck. Today, what you can do is you can use aluminum, and you can build it on the ground and cram it into place. So that you need to coat the roof, you just arrange to disconnect the deck, crane it off, coat the roof, put it back. But the way the elevator would fall in this house would be just past the end of the 3rd floor, because the 3rd floor is a partial floor. And so
So it wouldn't even be.
you could either have it come out directly onto the deck, or you could build a little areaway. There's a bathroom there that I would heavily intending to be a bar. Because you get up to the 3rd floor and have to be a bar. But people can walk into the house, to the elevator, straight to the roof,
Yeah, and you'll see as we get up there
and,
the layout.
you know, but this part of the house has very little architectural character to it. And blowing it out and making it modern is, you know, the way today the Bible wants it. Because people moving into the fan now are not moving here because it's an old house.
Sure.
They're moving here because it's a cool thing for them. And so they want a modern new house. And in order, you know, it's like I've been in, you know, my background in preservation goes way back. And one of the things I can tell you is nobody will preserve anything if it doesn't have current use. And so you need to adapt. And like painting the woodwork, you know, it's like, well, it would be a pain in the ass to undo.
Right.
But it needs to be undone anyway because it needs to be refinished. So taking one coat of paint off is not that big a deal.
Right.
We painted 1104 Grove Avenue that had, this woodwork is like nothing compared to that. It's like paneling that went up and it went all the way up a 3-story staircase and a lot of carving.
Right.
And the house had been used as a rooming house for years. And all of that woodwork was really just lovely. It needed attention. And to do a really good job and make all that woodwork look really the way it should, you spend $50,000, $80,000 easily. Paint job to do it all was like 15. And the house got brighter and lighter. And it was, I mean, I can't, you know, like all of y'all that told me I couldn't paint the brick in the office because it was so dark. It's like, oh, you can't paint the brick. I'm like, no, we're painting brick. And everybody walked in like, wow, it's really nice. Because it's bright. People like bright. The market. And it's not about the homeowner. It's no longer their house. This is merchandise.
Right, right.
And so treating it respectfully as merchandise is going to help your client get more money, and they need the advice from you that is the practical, pragmatic, like, if you really want to make
Yeah.
buck.
Good.
you know, this is what we need to do.
Mhm.
And you need to be in tune with the trend and, you know, what gets people excited.
Did they give you a budget to work with before you give them like a laundry list of?
No, I usually give them a laundry list, but when they go, oh my God, we can't spend that much or won't, I'll say, well, we can take away this and this, but you can't take away all of it, because if you take away all of it, it's like making a cocktail. If you take away too many things, you're not going to get the result that you need.
Right.
Right. People would leave on the floor, and they would go down, and they would go create.
Would you ever recuperate?
If you were not going to use the hydronic system, take it out, would modernize it, and people like it because it's good looking. I don't believe it because I love radiator heat.
Isn't it like radiator heat is objectively better?
It is that.
Yeah. But no,
Obviously, we don't use the measures, we can't only put it in.
Sure.
But central air conditioning with hot forced air together is more efficient. It hasn't been for the last 50 years when you install it. When these were put in, they didn't have air conditioning.
Right.
And this was, but everybody didn't have to see this was added, because we only pipe. This was added after the house was built.
Okay.
Because when the house was built, the cold was the
Right.
source of heat. And so you take it out, you pick the floors, you pick up the floor space, and it's prettier, but it heats not enough.
I mean, I think it's cool that it's kind of generational too. Like you see the this and then the transition to that, and then you know, it's kind of
Originally, this would have been the master building,
sure.
and that somebody built this big bookcase in there.
And what looks like a light fixture.
The gas would be, that's the gas, for
Oh,
natural gas.
okay.
And so you would normally, we would put the bed here in the sitting room, so it was a really nice bed. They don't understand it, so what they're looking for is they're looking for reassurance that they can do stuff, like painting the woodwork. Blair Martin, when we were in here, they bought the house and we came through one more time, with the architect, and she's like, I'm kind of thinking, don't everybody yell at me, and I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely paint it.
Right.
Because, you know, it makes a huge difference.
Would you always paint this kind of stuff white, or would you also go black or?
I wouldn't paint it black. I wouldn't do it black. Because what's the point? I mean, you're trying to get the lighting,
Yeah.
not out of it.
Sure.
But you may not paint it white,